Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Bet Tech Show. We're your hosts, Ben and Ethan, and we're excited to bring some tech news for you here at bedtime. With that, we're going to get off with some rumors that Microsoft
Crazy rumors. Crazy.
is allegedly doing with their new Xbox. Something that I'm excited for. So the rumor is they are going to be releasing a brand new Xbox, either 2026 or 2027. That's kind of been the years that have floated around. But the thing is that it's not going to be like an Xbox anymore. It's going to be a whole new thing. It's going to be like a gaming PC optimized for your television with access to Steam, which is about time. Get rid of that Xbox. So I'm I just hearing the rumors, I think it's pretty cool because this will give um, Xbox the ability to play a lot more titles than what you currently can, as well as getting some access to some Sony exclusives as well, because they are no longer exclusive because a lot of Sony's stuff is on Steam. And
Yeah.
get God of War finally. Um,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Oh, yeah,
Spider-Man.
I know. Super, super excited about that. And yeah, lots of other good stuff.
Dude,
And
what did you say earlier? I think my audio cut out and I like missed what you were saying earlier. Did you
about
did you
Oh, I was just saying that, Xbox was going to their new console was coming out in 2026, 2027. Not so much, but it'll be a PC-like console optimized for your
Oh yeah.
TV.
Yep. Optimized for your TV. It's a great way of staging it, you know.
Yeah. So
It's
really it's just a PC.
yeah, it's like okay, so Microsoft, you're in the PC game now. I mean, you already were like in a certain aspect, but your console now is just going to be like a pre-built PC, you
Yeah.
know?
Not that there's
Um,
anything wrong with that.
not that there's anything wrong with that. Yeah, it would be crazy having the rumors, like you said, Ethan, the rumors are it's going to run Windows and you can run things like Steam, and Epic, which will allow you to play different games on there. And really narrow down that competitive advantage that PlayStation has. And so I'm pretty excited. Did you also hear about the handheld that they're going to be potentially releasing?
Oh yeah. That it's
I
going to
heard about the
be
handheld.
yeah, that it'll have like Windows on it and
Yeah.
it'll be like a huge competitor to like the Asus ROG Ally
Yeah.
handheld.
Yep. And it's like backwards compatible with like older games. So it'll be kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I was pretty excited about that too. So, I mean, some reports that I've seen, Phil Spencer has said that the console war hasn't gone as expected, and it kind of shows they're focused on moving more towards software based and really going into Game Pass and just getting more games rather than focusing on the hardware.
Yep. I think you and I kind of talked about this in the past, probably multiple instances where we're starting to see that push more towards, like you said, software or even cloud-based gaming and less from hardware. And it'll get to a stage, I think you called this out in a previous episode. It'll get to a stage probably where Xbox will just provide software and cloud-based gaming, and then you can kind of play that wherever you want on whatever you want. So right now we're like if they're moving away from like actual consoles and starting to become pre-built PCs in like a pseudo PC in a way,
Mhm.
then that's in my mind that's kind of like Xbox might actually start to leave the whole standalone console uh standalone console I don't know industry vertical, whatever you want to call it. Um, But I do find it interesting that they're making a handheld, or at least that's like a rumor that they're making a handheld.
Yeah.
Um, to me, that's like a whole different ball game. PlayStation's always had them, and obviously Nintendo has too. But
Mhm.
um, it's really interesting to me that Xbox or Microsoft is starting to get into that. So
Yeah. To me, I would think that I would rather just optimize everything for everyone's phone since everybody has a phone, and just make accessories to connect to your phone to utilize your stuff.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Kind of like let people use the backbone, which is like,
Hmm.
connects to your phone, and then you can use Game Pass.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it's kind of interesting. I wanna see the official announcements of these.
me too.
I think the handheld is enticing to me because I have a Nintendo Switch and I love it. And I have an iPad that I got. You saw that,
Mhm.
maybe it was like around the holidays a couple months ago that I got the iPad, and I've never used it for gaming, but a part of me wants to use it for gaming, and so there's an aspect of like travel gaming that I want to get into,
Hmm.
portable gaming that not mobile like phone, but like, you know, uh pick up and go gaming. And so a handheld device might be enticing, especially like if I travel and I want to play the latest Xbox cross platform game with friends. I don't have to bring my white Xbox that I have right here. This right now is my travel Xbox behind me. So, yeah. Anyway, I don't know. What are your thoughts on a handheld? What would you want to see with like a handheld console?
If I was going to get a handheld, I'd want it to be really nice. I would like high refresh rate on that, and I I would love for it to be like
Yeah.
a real competitor to the Asus ROG Ally.
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, that handheld is probably one of the best just because it has that high refresh rate, it has an OLED panel, and you can and it is Windows based, so you can load any game launcher that you want on it, rather than the Steam Deck, which I think is really great, but you're limited just to your Steam library.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Exactly. That Steam Deck is limited. Um, I haven't seen too many people with the Asus handheld, and so I'm curious. Like, I haven't actually talked to anyone firsthand on their experience with it. Have you seen one or talked to anyone that has one by chance?
No, I haven't. I've just seen reviews on it. Um, it's like sitting in my cart, yeah, in Best Buy, but I haven't pulled the trigger yet on it. But yeah, the reviews of it have been pretty good. And reception of that has been good. It is pretty expensive. I mean, it's $800 for something that's theoretically my phone could do the same thing if Steam was on my phone, which has kind of been
Yeah,
kind of been the reason that I haven't got into it. I'm like, my phone could really do everything that I needed to, and then I wouldn't have to carry two devices for it.
yeah, that's true. Um, that's a really steep price point. Do they have like lower priced models or
No, that is your
cheaper
entry
models?
point. Um,
That's the entry point.
yeah, you can it goes up from there.
Dang, that's
Whereas
crazy.
whereas like the Steam Deck, like I think the entry point is about like $500, 400. It's a lower entry point, but you do have that limitation that it's only your Steam library.
Oh
Not that
yeah,
there's
you're
anything
right.
wrong with that, because I mean, Steam's the greatest anyway.
Dude, that's a whole separate conversation about how they run that ship. Have you seen the details of like how many people they have employed and what like the revenue per employee is?
Uh-uh.
Whatever they're doing there is incredible. Um, on average, the individuals at Steam, they have I think close to $1 million salary, and I think they make millions per employee. It's crazy. They have like 70 employees, but they just run the gamut of being the front end developer for like Steam or for gaming marketplace. It's incredible.
Wow.
I saw recently, um, I can't remember the streamer I was watching, but he was going through a slide deck of Steam and their business, their employees, the revenue they make, and the average salary for the employees. And it just blew me away. I couldn't believe it. And I'm going to look it up right now because I want to verify, but I'm pretty sure that's what I saw.
Yeah, so Valve is the company corporation that owns.
79 dedicated employees to Steam.
That is
Okay.
crazy.
Average Steam employee salary. Okay. Dude, 79 employees working on Steam were paid a combined 76.4 million in 2021, averaging 967K each. Brother,
Is
let's go work for Steam,
I know.
dude. Like but it's not just the fact that they're making a lot of money and they have few employees. It's the fact that they pump out such an incredible marketplace with
Yeah,
such few employees. Like, how is this not reciprocated? Why are we not understanding what they're doing? This is a business use case right here.
yeah.
Why is it like a business case study? I mean, like it's honestly incredible. Hats off to Valve for doing what they're doing at Steam. It's
And
just
like they're the way they conduct business with other people, like they they really don't care. I to the point what I'm saying, like if people are saying, "Hey, we'll put our stuff exclusively on Steam, and we'll give you this revenue," they're like, "We don't really care about that. I mean, if you want to give us access to your game, we'll put it on the marketplace. We'll make it great. But if you want to take it off, just take it off. It's okay." Like they're not trying to like manipulate the marketplace in such a way that it benefits them. They're just wanting to pump out a good marketplace for the benefit of gamers.
exactly. And like honestly, I think that's really commendable as opposed to the two players, well, three players, but really the two of them that are in the console war, right? Sony and Microsoft, PlayStation, Xbox. I feel like they are constantly in this battle of, sell more consoles, have better exclusives, sell more games, and like each have a cult following, but and they're both becoming somewhat of marketplaces for games for their consoles, right?
Mhm.
Especially when you see stuff like Game Pass. And what's PlayStation's? I can't remember PlayStation's, but they have their own network now.
Yeah,
And they've had it for a bit, but
whatever it
um,
is, it's still overpriced, like
yeah,
Xbox.
whatever PlayStation's is, right? But I do think it's cool that like Valve and Steam is kind of like we're just gonna have games for everyone. Like that's just what we want,
Yeah.
you know. Um, I think that's pretty cool and smart because they're able to just profit off of all the games and allow a lot of people just to play whatever they want anytime they want, as long as they, obviously pay for the game. But
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
great. And it's not just games they have on there too. Like I'm on my computer right now. I have a wallpaper engine, and that's like an app that I have on my computer to like change up my wallpapers. And that I love it. It's really cool. So
Yeah. And I mean, I think one of like the appeals is okay, like you've got your Steam library. I'm I'm more willing to pay for a game on Steam rather than like do Game Pass and have like two different places. I would rather pay a little bit of a premium just so all my games are in one place.
yeah, I agree. A centralized location that even if you upgrade like how or where you play your games, you're still able to access them.
Mhm.
That is hard for Sony and Microsoft to do when you have one console and sometimes it's disc based, sometimes it's digital. Most of the time now it's digital, but still like if I want, I have to have another Xbox. If I go somewhere, if I want to upgrade my Xbox, it has to be to another Xbox to access those games. And that's frustrating, right?
So
So,
yeah,
yeah,
Valve is
pretty
doing
cool
some
stuff.
great things.
Yeah, obviously. Obviously. So, I'm sure that like average that I talked about of like 76.4 million and 79 employees, I'm sure like that's not the actual average that people are getting. I'm sure there's like outliers where, C-suite or
Hmm.
executives at Valve dedicated Steam are getting like millions,
Yeah.
and then you have like probably entry level jobs that are getting sub 100K, low 100K, something like that. But
Yeah.
still, that's pretty
Nevertheless,
incredible.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
more than I'm making. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So, anyway, cool stuff. It'd be great to see a handheld with all those features you were talking about though. If Xbox came out with high refresh rate, nice screen like Nintendo Switch OLED and is that the not Asus. Does the Asus? No. Asus doesn't have the OLED.
they do have an OLED.
Oh, they do have an OLED.
Hmm.
Gotcha. Um it'd be nice to have that on the Xbox, obviously, and then being just have the versatility of being able to
Yeah.
like run stuff on the handheld. So
Yeah, I agree. And it would be good for Xbox to make it because then they would have the ergonomic thumbstick layout, which everybody loves. PlayStation is terrible.
yeah, I do find that interesting. The different controller layouts and setups. Um, I hate I there are things about PlayStation that I do love, but I do hate the controller
Hmm.
thumbsticks in the middle.
Me
Drives me
too.
nuts. Um, maybe I'm thinking
I
maybe I'm
mean,
thinking that wrong. Have they
it
upgraded
looks
that?
symmetric. It looks symmetrical, and I mean, when you're looking at it, it looks more pleasing than Xboxes. But how often are you looking at your controller when you're playing? So,
Yeah. And yeah, it just doesn't like it doesn't fit right with for me. I don't know. For some reason, maybe it wouldn't be that big of a deal. I feel like I don't have the right grip.
right.
Like I'm doing it with my hands right now, like
Hmm.
having them both next to each other. And I feel like it's just
That's just
holding on right
wrong.
here and it's slipping. But
Yeah.
like with one above, and one down below, I can like actually like grip it.
Hmm.
Like when you grip something, one finger's,
Yeah.
I don't know.
You get more
Anyway,
power with your movement.
yeah, more power,
Yes.
more power. But
Yeah.
yeah, anyway, it'd be great to have that ergonomic handheld design. That's another problem I have with the Switch too. I have a Switch and the console latches obviously come down on the sides, but there's
Hmm.
no like there's very minimal grip on the back. And so it's like I feel like
Oh,
I'm holding like a plate, you know? And so you're like it's very thin. It's like thin all the way across. And so if you flip it up, you're like holding it. And so I bought an extra accessory that has solid handheld grips on the back where I can like
hmm.
lay my fingers. But that's an accessory. You have to add that on. That's aftermarket. It doesn't come as a design of the product.
Yeah.
And so I'd hope that would be something that Xbox considers.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, considering they've kept the controller the same for quite some time, since whenever the Xbox One really was that 2013?
Yeah. 2013?
Yeah, 2013.
Dang.
Wow. Yeah, that was a time and a season ago.
Dude, that is crazy to me. It was that long ago.
Yeah, that is.
Pretty wild. So the new Xbox, I'm trying to figure out what the other rumors were besides the fact that it was going to be like uh a PC essentially that's built for built and compatible optimized for TV.
I wonder if this will have modular parts in it.
Ooh, that's interesting. Like a
Eh,
real PC.
Yeah, like if it would be user upgradable.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Pros and cons of that. What do you think the pros and cons of that are?
I mean, the great thing is it would allow the life cycle of that to last longer if it was user upgradable. Um, problem is I mean, with a PC now, you have so many different manufacturers and suppliers of parts, and getting those to work together in Windows is not always the easiest because
Hmm.
you've got millions of different combinations, and there's generally not one PC that is the same as the other. And so it driver support for that can be challenging. Whereas, like, with consoles, everything is vertically integrated with the system. It's
Yep.
there. Um, so I think if like they were gonna have modular, they would want to try and keep that some sort of vertical integration with those,
Hmm.
and maybe
Hmm.
have parts and specifically for the Xbox.
Yeah. And that would mean new production lines, manufacturing, etc. And that can get pretty expensive to spin up if it's brand new.
Yeah. Potentially,
Or
a good profit as well, because I mean, you have more um, things to entice buyers to buy into it.
true, similar to like the SSD that Xbox came out with this last go around
Yeah,
with their consoles,
that
right? They came
costs
out
as
with an
much
X.
as the Xbox itself.
Yeah, this white Xbox, if I wanted to get that upgrade, it would be probably the same price or more, right? It's like pretty dumb. Um, yeah, you're right. But it's along those lines where it's like, okay, if I want to upgrade my memory on this small Xbox that's to my left, then I'm gonna have to pay for that extra part, that Xbox branded SSD card,
Hmm.
right? And you're right, it brings in other potential revenue streams. But obviously you'd have to do an ROI analysis or
Yeah, because I mean, you've got tooling costs, production lines, and manufacturing. I mean,
mark
there's a
you'd probably have to do a market demand analysis, see
yeah,
would people actually consider upgrading, what do they currently do with PCs, etc.
yeah. I mean,
I wonder.
because like
Oh, go ahead,
that
sorry.
that I mean, like that whole process, like there's a lot of front end um investment that goes into those tooling processes. Like it is really expensive to um create machine tooling for a new production line.
Hmm.
Um, and then like if you look at the Steam hardware survey results, I mean like that'll show you kind of what the average um of their player base does. And a lot of it is, I mean, it's not like the majority of their players are not playing on like the brand new top of the line hardware.
Hmm.
So it does kind of show that people are pretty generally conservative on what they when they upgrade or what they upgrade to.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I have never seen this before. So I just Googled what you said, Steam hardware survey, and it took me to their website and it just shows the Steam hardware and software survey February 2025. And they conduct a monthly survey to collect data about what kinds of computer hardware and software their customers are using. The participation is optional and anonymous. The information gathered is incredibly helpful to make Steam make decisions about the type of technology investments they want to make. That's at least the description they have. That's really interesting though. But you're right. It's like it does look like people are a little bit more conservative on the upgrades. Um,
Yeah, I mean, like if you look at the video card descriptions, I mean, there's even people running on integrated graphics on their CPU, which is surprising. Surprising enough that integrated graphics work well enough to game on. But
yeah,
I
that's
guess
crazy.
some CPUs have gotten really well. I have I have never tried gaming on integrated graphics, but also my
Video
motherboard
card
doesn't have a
description.
display output on it, so I couldn't even try that if I wanted.
percentage here. Yeah, this is so cool. It's showing a breakdown based on the survey results of all the people and what they're using.
Yeah,
So
so I mean,
crazy.
like the RTX 4060 is got the highest percentage share right now. Um,
Yeah, yeah, with 8.3%, 8.37. Yeah, and that
so all
looks
those
like it.
people that you see online saying that they're getting a 5090 game, they're not gaming on this with that.
Yeah, 4090,
I don't even see
4060
the
Ti.
5090 on here.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't even see anyone. Probably because it was just released in February, so people probably haven't responded.
Yeah, it's because nobody can get them. Plus, they're melting, and plus, they've had to return them because they are not living up to the performance
Yeah,
advertised. So, NVIDIA is struggling.
yeah, definitely. That's tough. Tough. Like especially when you're marketing like tech nerds and you tell them it's gonna provide some kind of performance and it's actually not really that performance, they're gonna
Yeah,
get pissed off, you know. I want to go back to one thing you said though, talking about Microsoft potentially, or you're saying that it would be really cool to see the modularity of the Xbox console and potential upgrades over time. Um, and one thing I wanted to mention was it would be cool if Microsoft partnered with other technology companies, maybe like Nvidia or whatever it might be, AMD, Intel, whoever, whatever, and they leverage their current infrastructure, manufacturing to build out whatever they need to for these upgradable parts. I think I could see that happening,
yeah,
for sure. You
that would
know,
be pretty cool. Um, and I think with that, if they were able to do that, being able to make it in a way that it was very user friendly for people who are not as comfortable like servicing their own
yes.
equipment. Because I know, like,
Oh yeah.
for people that are like wanting to get into building your own PC, I mean, that is, it's a pretty big, it's a pretty big jump for somebody that doesn't know what they're doing or has never done it before. It can seem very overwhelming. But it's kind of one of those things like once you've experienced it and once you've done it, it's like, oh, this is fairly intuitive enough that it's fairly easy.
Yeah. That would actually be brilliant for Xbox to do that, because then it would just lower that barrier of upgrading parts and allowing individuals to buy those additional pieces if they want to upgrade. And it would allow them to be introduced in like learning how to build their own PC. I think of it as if you've ever gone to Star Wars, they have the ability to like build your own droid. I
Hmm.
don't know if you've ever done that, but I've done it with my kids. And essentially, they make it so simple, but still really fun to where it's like you do a simple unscrew and then a simple screw in, and like you attach the leg. You get a head and you get a body, and then you just plug in a chip for the body in the body of the droid to make it have a personality. And I can imagine if Xbox were to make their console modular, make it simple enough to where it's like, here are the fundamental pieces of the console slash PC, GPU, CPU, cooling, whatever it might be. And you just pull out and replace each of those pieces. So you learn the fundamentals of like what goes into building a PC and potentially like location and relationship with other pieces of the PC. And it's very easy to uninstall, install, replace, whatever it might be. And that would like be a really good stepping stone for individuals who want to build their own PCs.
Hmm.
But then what would be next for Microsoft if they were like, okay, what are we trying to lead them to? What's the end goal here? Do you think Microsoft will go into like custom custom PC building, I don't see them going into that. There's too much competition there.
There is a lot of
And
comp.
their software is so strong right now that I feel like they're going to be heading in the software space. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
still think it'd be cool though.
Because, Microsoft, they've got the software down. A lot of people have to use Windows. Um, I think their Surface product line, like their hardware side, is I think it's pretty good. I I think like what they have with like their laptops and their Surface um
Yeah,
tablets, I think like those iterations of how they've done hardware and how that integrates with the software is done really well. I mean, obviously it's not the most high-end performance-based types of products.
sure.
Um, but I think like they're focusing on a particular market group that's going to bring them the most return on their investment.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. And I think the Surface, I mean, if you look at that space, their main competitors are iPad, right? And I feel like they have a leg up on iPad because iPads, there's been a huge complaint of where they fit in individuals like workflow or use case.
mhm.
And people want a um an iOS that is not just your phone iOS, like your Apple iPhone iOS. They want like a better operating system on the iPad.
Yeah,
And
they
the
want Mac
Surface,
OS on the
they want
iPad.
Mac OS. Yeah, thank you. They want Mac OS, not iOS. They want Mac OS on this on the iPad, whereas the Surface, you're getting Windows on that and it's running like a PC, right? And in my opinion, that's a leg up because of the capabilities are a lot better in my mind. Maybe the reliability and the consistency and the user experience, the UX might not be as good as iPad, but the capability I feel like is better.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, with like Microsoft's track record with their Surface, potentially, Microsoft could do something similar with Xbox and have like a modular hardware that could work. Um, it's just whether the market is willing to invest in that or not. I mean, for me, for the longest time, I was comfortable with an Xbox. I was comfortable with what it could do until I wanted more out of life, and I built a PC.
You know, you're moving up on the world when you go from an Xbox to a custom built PC. You're
So
making steps, moving up in the world.
yeah.
Um, the one thing I will say though about Xbox that I think is another point you kind of brought up is if it were to be modular and they were to have upgradable parts, you'd want to make sure that it's all in the same uh functionality within each other, right? You don't it's hard when you start going to different manufacturers to build different pieces or if you're starting something new. And I will say my main point is having a console is nice for like a reliability standpoint
Oh yeah.
where I just push a button and I know what I'm getting and I know it's going to work like for the most part.
Yeah.
Rarely have I ever had
99% of the time, the
yeah.
console just works.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so much more user friendly, I think, than the PC side of things.
Yeah.
But again, that kind of goes back to the point where you're saying where maybe this is the step in the direction of we're going to start bridging the gap and educating people and allowing them to take that step further towards PC building or PCs by making this a pseudo PC that's optimized for TVs.
Yeah. And
So,
and I mean like, kind of once you can get over that initial um unknown, it becomes super easy. And so I think, having something that makes it really easy for an individual, if they were going to make this modular, having that vertical integration where it is specifically Xbox parts that you can buy and upgrade if you wanted to, that would make it super easy and people wouldn't have as much apprehensions with it. I think would be more comfortable with
Yeah, definitely. It would be so cool if they're like, here's our new console. It's a console, it's a reliable console, it's just like your regular console, but it's simply built, powerfully built, but it's simply built to where you can kind of customize it however way you want. And you could buy like a new case for it, or you could buy a different fan for it, or you could add RGB, like a
it.
custom
Ooh,
PC.
yeah.
And then they have like collaborations with like their games or with characters. Kind of like how Nvidia had that special edition Halo graphics card.
Yes.
But
And then
I,
Asus has the Evangelion
yeah.
Evangelion one.
And then I think there's also like a Gundam one.
Yeah, there's
Um
Gundam cases.
I was really looking at the Gundam stuff. That caught my eye. That thing is that's so sick. But I think that'd be really cool if like Xbox did that with Xbox proprietary
Hmm.
licensing, you know? I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think there's potential, but I just anything custom just requires so much investment and so much like uh infrastructure to be in place. You know, you have to hold the inventory of those custom parts and
Hmm.
it could just be lots of headache and it may not be worth the cost to do. So,
Yeah, and especially with like how quickly technology is evolving and changing, ha producing a lot of those parts that people may or may not buy is can be can be rough as well.
yeah, for sure. For sure. So, either way, I'm excited. When do you think Xbox would officially announce this? Do you think they'll announce it this year? I feel like by end of year they would if it's going to be 2026, 2027.
Yeah, I think they would. Usually they have like a event in June, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah. And I know there's,
So we make it a project name.
what'd you say?
We make it a project name for the upcoming one.
Yeah. Yeah. We might get a project name. Um,
So what I think the Xbox was Project Scarlet.
I'm looking at Xbox's CES 2025 stuff right now. Um, and it looks like, I don't know. I guess I'm confused by this, what I'm seeing.
I mean, they did have an event in February, but that was just announcing games.
Let's see. CES 2025 Vegas was in January. Um, I'm looking at all this stuff from Windows. CES Xbox 2025 handheld. Let's see what we got here. All right. Here's your first glimpse at Xbox's next gen hardware plans and some parts for being executed more quickly than you might think. Let's see here. I'm reading this article about the handheld. Hmm. Xbox branded gaming handheld surprisingly slated for later in 2025 if plans are met. Codename Keenan. This gaming handheld will look unmistakably Xbox, we're told, complete with an
Interesting.
official Xbox guide button and Xbox design sensibilities. So, like you're saying, Ethan, probably going to be Xbox controller design. Given that this is a partner device, similar to Lenovo's Steam OS partnership with Valve, I expect this handheld to be more PC oriented. Uh, they in the article they say it's almost definitely running full Windows, putting the Microsoft Store and PC Game Pass front and center. Let's see. Mm, these are just assumptions and expectations. More assumptions, but
Very interesting.
yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot about it, but they're saying it's slated to be in 2025 for the handheld.
Well, hopefully we learn more as we get some more reports and official
We're
statements.
definitely we'll definitely report on it.
Yeah. So, um, with that, I don't have anything else for tonight. Do you?
Yeah, same. I think that a really good conversation about what's to come and possibly of like what we'd like to see. I honestly really enjoyed the conversation, especially around the modularity of Xbox and if that's a possibility. I don't think it is, but
I
it's
don't think so
interesting
either,
to
but it would be a
yeah.
nice concept.
Yeah, it'd be really it's fun to think about. And I think there'll be a fun year this year to kind of see what Xbox does and then potentially how Sony may come back or clap back and say, we got some stuff in the works too. So
Yeah,
great conversation though. I had a good time.
me too. So give us a thumbs up if you liked it. That really does help out our channel. If you didn't, that other button seems to work all right as well. Make sure you send this to somebody you dislike. I'm sure they could really use this video in their life. As always, ringling that dingling button so you never miss out any good content as it's posted onto the channel. Until next time, stay classy and have a great evening.
Peace.